Alright, I'm going to do an update on the spiders that hatched from the rose-haired tarantula. I'll show you what they're up to now. There they all are, all 300 of them. And they're about to molt into the second instars. That's their second molt. And let's see if I can get one. Show it up close. Don't advise handling these guys because they're really fragile. Put the camera down real quick. There we go. Alright, you can barely even see it, it's really blurry with this camera. But that's pretty much what you're going to receive if you get a little free baby rose-haired tarantula from me. They're very easy to take care of. Yeah, they really don't do anything right now. They're very chill, they just move around a little bit, that's about it. Put them back. There you go. So yeah. I'll try to give people big ones that look like they're hopefully females. No guarantee what, it's hard to tell. Basically, they're going to come in these little deli cups. Pop them open. Yeah, the tarantula's going to be just in there. Those poke some holes on the top. And going to put this substrate in there right here. It's cocoa fiber. Buy it at any reptile shop, they'll have it. Put some in there, pat it down a little bit, not too rough, don't want to pack it. That's about it, that's it. They just need a little bit, something to walk on so they get used to the substrate for when they get older. Just have that in there. Like I said, poke a few holes on the top, probably about 8 to 10 little tiny just pen holes with the pen. And just put that on top and keep them in there until they outgrow it, which will just be, a few months. And then you can upgrade to a small cage like one of these that I have for my tarantulas. You can get one of these. You can make your own, and just get, or you can just get bigger deli cups until they do get a big enough size where you can put them in a full tank, like the mom over there. Mainly all you have to do with these guys is take care of them. It's very simple. All you have to do is every once in a while you'll have to spray a little bit of water. You'll use a spray bottle, like this, just any household spray bottle. It's nice to get a really fine mist spray bottle though, if you can find one, or if you want to put the money into it. And you'll just spray one of the sides a little bit, just so they can drink droplets, because they will drink off of it. Don't flood it, because these tarantulas, the substrate's supposed to be pretty dry. But you can have like a little bit, like wet spots like right here. So they can even like take the water right out of the dirt and use that, because they do need water, otherwise they'll die. And then for feeding, these little guys, when they're ready to eat, they'll eat about every 3 to 5 days. Depends on the tarantula. You'll be able to like develop a routine as you get used to feeding them. When they're this small, I really suggest feeding them flightless fruit flies, because they're really easy for them to catch, and it's really small, so they're not intimidated by it. The general rule is don't ever feed them anything that's bigger than the length of their body. So from head to spinneret, anything longer than that is inappropriate for them. So you can probably get away with, like, you know, pinhead crickets, mealworms, like really small mealworms, the small ones, and flightless fruit flies. Flightless fruit flies are really good for them to start on. The easiest thing for them when this young age would be small mealworms, especially people who are kind of squeamish about, you know, crickets and things like that, you know, if they can't handle feeding them that. The best thing to feed them is dubia roaches, but I know a lot of people freak out about roaches, but they are very clean actually, despite what people think. But yeah, I'd probably just go to your local pet store and just grab a can of mealworms, the small ones, and they can just eat those, and those will last you a long time. You just have to buy that for $5 and it'll last you probably those 3 months while it's growing easily. So I suggest going that route. Flightless fruit flies you can buy at pet stores also, either one. And then yeah, just, you know, keep them in their little, you know, enclosure here and upgrade it as they grow so they have room to roam. These guys, you know, will need like a lot of substrate because these guys are notorious for digging, and it's very fun watching them dig, you know, when they interact with their surrounding, you know, just finding like the perfect, you know, home for themselves. They do like a lot of decorating. It's pretty fun watching them at night, watching them move dirt around and things like that and dig. Oh, and another big thing about this is people are going to be new tarantula owners, is these little guys. I'm talking about molts. What they do is they will molt, then that's how they grow. They'll shed their whole exoskeleton, and then after they molt, they're like really soft, frail spiders, and they'll grow while they're really soft, and they get bigger. Each molt they get bigger. Thing about molting is it's very that's the only like crucial thing you really have to watch with these spiders. When they do molt, you're gonna have to be really careful because you don't want to disturb them at all. What they do is, you know, they're like this, crawling, and when they molt, they'll flip on their back. And a lot of people think that they're dead, but they're not. They're just ready to molt. They'll break out of the shell of their exoskeleton on top, and then they'll pull themselves out of it, like so. And then, you know, the exoskeleton will be out there, and then you'll just take the little tweezers or something and pull it out and then discard it because it can grow mold inside there, and that could be fatal for your tarantulas. So make sure once they shed the skin that you take it out and get rid of it, dispose of it, and then leave the spider alone for about 5 days so it can harden again, and then you could resume feeding it. They will not eat right before they molt. That's so, you know, if they're not eating, then do not feed them. Just like, you know, you can try again next week, you know, another like 5 days, try again, another 3 to 5 days, just try again. If they're not eating, just, you know, keep on doing it because you never know. They just might be going off eating. They do weird habits sometimes. Sometimes they just stop eating for, you know, whatever reason. You know, they're just not hungry. They have enough in them. You know, they could live off a long time without food. There's been rose hares that have been without food for almost a year and not eat, and they survive and, you know, flourish. Also with talking about feeding, you know, with the molting, feeding, when you do feed them, leave the food in there for 24 hours. If they do not eat it, and then take it out because it could be harmful to them, because spiders are really frail, because an insect or something could bite them and hurt them and damage them, they could die. And especially with the molting, you don't want to throw food in there after they molted because they're so frail, and a cricket could easily kill a tarantula. I know it sounds funny, but it's actually true. It does happen. People lose tarantulas because of that. So with the molting cycle, they molt about every 1 or 2 months, and then you'll see it happen. Just as long as you see them on the back, they're okay. Because when a tarantula, if it does die, it's like this, curled up like this. They call it a death curl. When they're up like this, that's when they're dead. When they're like this, they're molting. So don't worry about it. Don't touch it. Don't mess with it at all. Just leave it alone. Come back in an hour, and you'll see it. It should be a brand new little baby tarantula, you know, that's gotten bigger. And then you just take out that molt. If a tarantula, after it molts, if it is acting like this really bad, if it is doing its death curl thing after it's molting, and it hasn't moved in a while, then you may have to put it in an ICU, which they call, which is basically what this is almost. It's basically a plastic container, and you line a bunch of moist paper towels in there, and you'll leave the tarantula in there because the moisture will help like loosen it up, and then it'll start moving again. It'll be okay. They usually do this because they dehydrate, or they just like have grown too old, and they just end up dying because of that. So if they do that, maybe they don't have any hydration, maybe lack of water or something like that. So you have to check those things. And when they're adults, they're very easy to take care of. Be able to feed them, once every 7 days. Throw in 1 or 2 crickets in there. You only have to clean the cage about every 6 months or to a year. So they're very clean animals too. And then with the water, just keep a water bowl in there for them to drink out of when they're adults. It's very simple. Just refill it every once in a while. They like throwing dirt in it, so you just have to take it out, clean it out, put new water in there, and that's about it. They molt a lot less. It's about every maybe 3 to 4 months they'll molt, so you don't have to worry about that at all. Another fact about molting too is when they do molt, they'll start getting really dark with their abdomen, like the butt part will start darkening, like brown, and they lose their like nice coloration when they molt. Kind of like how a snake becomes pale when it's ready to shed skin. Same thing, they just get dark and brown looking. They lose their coloration. So that's a good sign for you to know that that's about to molt. It becomes inactive also, just stays in its hole, doesn't come out, doesn't look around for food, becomes very dormant. So those are the signs that it's molting. So anyways, that's about it. I'll provide I'll provide this little setup for them, and I'll have the spider in this for people who actually want one. So it'll be ready to go, and I'll feed them something to make sure that it can eat, to make sure that I don't give you a tarantula that's refusing food. And then that's about it. And if any questions, just have to message me, and then I'll help you out with any way I can. All right. Thank you for watching.